She's got to put her shades back on, you know. Personal safety. Well, you can't get a retina scan with... Well, never mind. I know, that's about 6 of you know what I just said. By the time Amanda's through with you, we're all going to know what's going on with the confiscation of our privacy. But building on what Amanda said and continuing with the theme, let's revisit some of these egregious acts attributed to the King of Great Britain and see if they remind you of anything happening today. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefit of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses in DNA or AA, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with the power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage a man who's owned several businesses, who knows exactly what's happening, Mr. Dale Phillips.
Well, thank you for being here today. Thank you for caring about our country. We have an awful lot of people who don't care about the Constitution. I don't know if you've ever heard of Dr. Benjamin Rush. Dr. Benjamin Rush was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. And he was a physician. And he lobbied for and worked hard to get medical freedom put into the Bill of Rights. And you can read his writings alongside notes that go with the Constitution, and you'll see that he said that if we don't put medical freedom in, the same as religious freedom, right to bear arms, etc., it's only a matter of time before the medical profession tries to takes total control of the people. All the way back to Dr. Benjamin Rush. Obamacare is doing just that. All kinds of new taxes in Obamacare that the politicians who voted for it did not even read. Deception and lies are prevalent throughout the document. That is what it's about, taking charge of America, taking charge of you by virtue of using the health care laws and the health care system. Not only that, but as an owner of an insurance company, I have seen the socialistic laws passed that require us to do things that are not insurance items. And other laws passed that limit the amount of money we have to operate on. To the point that eventually you cannot exist and you defer to a single payer, that would be the government. They're doing that by leaps and bounds. Hundreds of insurance companies are going broke throughout America due to the loss ratio requirements of Obamacare that was implemented at the beginning of this year. Actually, the beginning of last year. And so it cannot stand my company happened to escape, my insurance company happened to escape that by virtue of Social Security laws, but laws have been put forward to put us under the same requirements, which only allow the giant multi-billion-dollar corporations to exist, which feeds right into the fascism that's taking place in our country. Fascism. If you want to know a lot about fascism, get on the net and look at freedomtofascism.com. It will teach you what's going on in this country for the last 30 years. freedomtofascism.com. Folks, if we don't realize that we have voted in criminals for 50 years, not all of them are criminals, not all of them were criminals in the beginning, but many of them have become criminals after getting in. And they more and more so. And the order of the day is to lie to you totally throughout the campaign and then to do something the opposite once they get in. That's what's going on. And we have done this so long, voting in criminals, that as many of the speakers have already said, if we don't realize now that it is up to us to turn to God for His help, then we are totally lost. If you look in the scriptures and you see in the book of Esther what was going to happen to their nation, the entire nation was edicted to be killed. And they went into 3 days of fasting and prayer. And she went before the king with her life on the line. And the point is that, I can't tell the whole story, I don't have the time, but it's all about Mordecai and Haman, and you'll see it when you read it. But Haman's the bad guy and Mordecai's the good guy. And Haman wanted to hang Mordecai. But in the end, Haman was hung on his own gallows he built for Mordecai. And I've been praying for a year, and I ask you to pray continually for the next week, month, and the rest of your life for that matter, that the evildoers, the people who are deceivers, the people who are not treating you, the people, the way the Constitution demands, that one, they be given prayer for repentance. Everybody deserves repentance, an opportunity. But other than that, I pray that you would continue to pray that they will be held in the cells they're building for us at this very moment and hung on the gallows that they've built for us in the past. That is what we have to be praying, and we have to rely on God, who can, with the sweep of His hand, cause things to happen that we cannot make to happen. How powerful is God? In the Old Testament, you will see a story about Israel in a battle in a valley, and Moses on a hill with his hand in the air. And God said, as long as your hand's in the air, you will win the battle. Moses' arm got tired, and as it came down, more of his people started dying on the battlefield. So he held his arm up with his other arm. The same thing happened. So he had other men hold his arm up so that they could win. I'm telling you, we serve a God that's so in charge, that's so in control, that people are dying or living because an arm is in the air or not in the air. I tell you, we serve a God that is so powerful, He can take these people out in the middle of the night if He wanted to. In one story in the Old Testament, He took 100,000 out in the middle of the night at once. We need to rely on God. Totally, humbly, prostrate on the floor is what you need. Because a government that can pass an NDAA law and throw into that law the right to assassinate any American that the president assigns to, the right to pick up any American in the middle of the night and take him offshore or her offshore and hold them indefinitely, that government will soon take away your free speech rights, your freedom to bear arms, and your right to be here to assemble. That's what they will do in the body of works of 2,000-3,000 pages of something that is titled To Help You. That's what's going on, folks. You need to be praying. You need to be praying hard from the floor. Thank you for your time.